Welcome to the Online Sales Mentor Podcast, where we help you grow, build, and automate your Amazon business. And now your host, who in high school thought funky Cold Medina would make him famous, Franklin Medina.
This is the Online Sales Mentor Podcast with Franklin Medina, session number 50. What's up, Amazon Seller Nation? Thank you so much, guys, for taking time out of your day to listen to my show. It really means a whole lot to me, and I value and appreciate you guys a whole lot. So wherever you are, the fact that you are tuning in is what keeps me cranking these shows out. So thanks for making me a part of your day. For those of you that are listening to my podcast for the very first time, this is the podcast where I answer, cover, and share everything you need to grow, build, and automate your Amazon business. If for whatever reason you missed an episode, you can simply go to the OnlineSalesMentor.com website, and on the podcast tab, you can click on any of the archived podcasts you may have missed. So let's get started. Hey guys, today's topic is one of extreme importance for all Amazon sellers. Now, it's extremely important that you guys really pay attention and take some notes, because there's going to be a lot of pivoting required in your Amazon business moving forward. Amazon, you may have or may not have heard that Amazon has recently changed some of their terms of service. Now, there's a lot of misconception, there's a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff is just being thrown in and out, all around the the blogs, the Facebook, chat rooms, the Facebook groups. There's a lot of stuff going back and forth, and I hate hearing stuff, from a second, third person as to, what the limitations are, what's going on, what's not going on. So I wanted to dedicate this episode to really clarify and really go over step by step, what the changes, are that Amazon has made to the terms of service, and how it can impact your business, and how you need to pivot your business, to make sure that you are compliant. Okay. Now, it took for me to get a phone call into one of the Amazon departments, to not just, Amazon seller support, but to the department that handles, the terms of service. And I got there through, really going in, one route, asking them for listing support. And then through listing support, I was able to get to the team that handles terms of service, or at least the ones that have the most knowledge on the terms of service. Okay, so I was able to, it took about an hour to get all the way to that department, because, along the way I had to address other issues that I needed to get addressed, regarding my account. So eventually the person forwarded me to the team that handles, that at least has more knowledge with terms of service. So I wanted to give you, my perspective, my interpretation. Okay. Now, again, these are all, legal stuff that, maybe you might want to get your attorney to look it over to understand it. I don't want anyone to, just take the recommendations that I give as what I'm doing in my business, because the last thing I would want you to do is for you to do something, in your business on, based on what I'm doing, and then have it affect your account. I always say, try to get Amazon on the phone, because they document every phone call, and you get an email. It goes on your seller support, archive. And then you might want to copy and paste that and take, get a snapshot of that screen of that conversation. And I asked very detailed questions that required an answer. And whether I was going to like the answer or not, I made sure that I asked those questions, because not only was it going to be important if I decided to make pivot, change it into my business and, do some pivots here and there, that if it came back to bite me in the behind, that I would have I would have that as a backup as to, what, the questions that I asked and the responses that I received. So I wanted to make sure that I documented. I encourage everyone to do this, themselves. Don't just call Seller Central Support. Go through them first, but make sure that you get, because that's the front line, right? That's the gatekeeper. You need to get past that. Once you get past that, now you start getting into the departments that handle, more of the, technical stuff, and more the language part of Amazon's terms of service and contracts, and whether it's on the technical side, whether it's more on the legality side, you definitely can get to the department. And I felt confident enough that I got someone on the phone that was very, very knowledgeable, and she gave me like amazing tips that I think are I'm gonna start implementing on them right away, only because I did receive an email, a detailed response, as a backup file to our conversation. So I wanted to make sure that that these changes that I make, I'm gonna have a backup to it, and I recommend everyone to do that. But what I'm gonna share with you guys, I hope that you guys don't take it in stride and really make some changes to your business, because you can call 3-4 more times and get a different response, and I get that, but I'm not going to do that, because I have a documentation of my conversation, and that at the end of the day has has a lot of weight, because if I was given wrong information, I cannot be penalized by it. Now, yes, mind you, I'm playing in Amazon's backyard, and they shoot first and then ask questions later. But if I can always say, look, I did these moves based on what your rep told me, based on what this department told me, had they given me a different direction, I would have definitely followed that. So I'm confident. I'm confident in the person I spoke to. You can tell right away when you call these guys, whether it's someone that is new or someone that's that's tenured there and that has a lot of knowledge on Amazon and the systems. And this person, she was a female. She sounded like she's a veteran, and she sounded like she knew exactly, what to respond with. And not only that, she went and she got her supervisor to also make sure and confirm that what she was going to share with me was accurate and correct. So there's a documentation to back her up that she spoke to her supervisor. Now, I'm spending a little bit of time just sharing this, because it's extremely important that everyone take note of this, because I think Amazon added these terms of service to really make it probably easier for them to close your accounts, for those, because this is a problem. Amazon is having a problem with reviews. Now, the issues that I'm going to address are reviews. They made changes to their review terms of service, and I'm going to read that to you verbatim, so that this way you can, together we can kind of go over this and, kind of make some sense of it, even though you're not going to be able to respond back to me. But hopefully, you can kind of see my take on it, and hopefully what I share makes some sense, in terms of how I am interpreting it. Now, this is extremely important, guys, because if you are an Amazon private label seller, it's extremely, extremely important that you pay attention to some of these changes, and that you pivot your business so that you're not in violation. Okay. So here it goes. I'm going to share with you, I'm going to read an excerpt of the terms of service, and I'm going to go specifically to the area that relates more to the reviews. Now, these are the changes that I've seen. Now, I'm going to read, it's called the misuse of the Amazon selling platform, right? But the area that is specific to what I want to cover is misuse of ratings, feedbacks, and review. Okay. Now, this particular section is going to talk about ratings and feedback. I'm just going to read it because it's a short paragraph, and then it leads into the reviews, which is the heart of what I want to address in this episode. Now, here it goes. The rating and feedback features allow buyers to evaluate the overall performance of a seller, helping sellers to develop a reputation within the Amazon marketplace. You may not post abusive or inappropriate feedback or include personal information about a transaction partner. This also includes posting ratings or feedback to your own account. You may request feedback from a buyer. However, you may not pay or offer any incentive to a buyer for either providing or removing feedback. Okay, now this is clear, right? A lot of us use email sequences to request feedback, and that's allowed. Even Amazon, on your behalf, sends the buyer, a request for feedback. We get that. That's self-explanatory. No ifs, ands, or buts there. We don't need to go over that and cover that. Now, I'm going to cover the reviews, and I'm going to cover, some of the changes that have been made. Okay, now, reviews. Reviews are important to the Amazon marketplace, providing a forum for feedback about product and service details and reviewers, experiences with products and services, positive or negative. You may not write reviews for products or services that you have a financial interest in, including reviews for products or services that you or your competitor sells. Additionally, you may not provide compensation for a review other than a free copy of the product. If you offer a free product, it must be clear that you are soliciting an unbiased review. Now, we're all clear on this, as far as, when you promo your product, either through a blast, either through a review group, you need to let the reviewer know that they need to make that statement in their review that they received a free product in exchange for an unbiased review. That is fine. Now, here I'm going to continue. The free product must be provided in advance, which is clear, right? You're going to give it to them in advance before they review it. Just common sense. The next one is no refunds are permitted after the review is written, right? That's also common sense. You don't, they're not going to, request a refund. Even if it was free, they wouldn't do that. But even if they paid an amount of money, in exchange for the review, that's not allowed. Now, or on either part, right? So here I'm going to read further, guys. Review solicitations. Let me see. I lost my place here. Okay, if you offer a free product, it must be, okay, for an unbiased review. The free product must be provided in advance. No refunds permitted after review is written. You may not intentionally manipulate your product's rankings, including by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products. Now, here's the caveat: in exchange for a review. Okay, guys? I'm going to read this again because this is where I feel, and I'm going to pivot, and I strongly feel that Amazon sellers need to pivot their businesses because of this. I'm going to read it again. You may not intentionally manipulate your product's rankings, including by offering an excessive number of free or discounted products in exchange for a review. Now, I'm going to be clear with this because this is where I needed clarification. We all know, and I hope we all know, that when you're when you're blasting out products either to your own list, to your group, a review group, or through a blast, you cannot write in the same email where you provide the discount code. You cannot ask for a review, a feedback or review. That's a no-no. Okay? Now, that you may not do. Now, here I'm going to read further before I tell you what all of us are doing, including myself, and I'm going to change and pivot that. Now, here I'm going to read, quote, review solicitations that ask for only positive reviews or that offer compensations are prohibited. You may not ask buyers to remove negative reviews. Okay, so that's self-explanatory. Now, this is where you need to pivot. We all use services like Feedback Genius. There's a bunch of them out there that ask for a review and a feedback and a review. Okay, now, according to my conversation, I asked the seller support rep, I asked her, is it allowed for me to ask for a review 10 days later after they received the product? Can I ask for a review then? She was quick to tell me no. This can be viewed as a violation of Amazon's terms of service for asking for a review for a discounted product for a free or a discounted product. Now, she did say you can give out as many promo codes as you want. That is a corporate decision on your part. This is her telling me. However, I would strongly recommend you stop asking for a review, even if it's 7 days, even if it's 10 days later, on that discounted product. Okay? This is extremely important, guys, because you're either gonna be on the side of wanting to spike your sales, or you're going to want to be on the other side of really focusing more on just getting reviews, but you can't do both. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Most of us send out, we blast products at a discount to spike the algorithm, right? However, we then afterwards ask for feedback and review on an email sequence. That, according to this Amazon rep, is a no-no, okay? Now, the only reason why I'm going to pivot and make changes to this is because it's documented that she told me that this cannot be done. And if I continue to do that and they monitor my account, I can get my account suspended for violating Amazon's terms of service. Now, this doesn't just apply to me because I made the call and I asked this question and now it's documented. I think that Amazon is now making these changes to go after sellers who are intentionally misusing the Amazon system. So I'm going to continue reading. This one's called Misuse of Sales Rank. The bestseller rank features allow buyers to evaluate the popularity of a product. You may not solicit or knowingly accept fake or fraudulent orders. This includes placing orders for your own products. You may not provide compensation for buyers for purchasing your products or provide claim codes to buyers for the purpose of inflating sales rank. In addition, you may not make claims you may not make claims regarding a product's You may not make claims regarding a product's bestseller rank in the product detail page information, including the title and description. Okay, so what is Amazon doing? Amazon doesn't want you to write any claims regarding the bestsellers rank number 1, let's say, for example, on the detailed sales page, including the title and description. Okay, so this is where we need to pivot. You cannot say number 1 and, make some kind of sales claim regarding the sales rank. That's a no-no, right? Amazon, it's against Amazon's terms of service. Also, here they talk about, manipulating, by knowingly accepting fake or fraudulent orders. This includes placing orders for your own products, okay? Now, this is where I get into, so I'm going to continue reading before I make my comment. You may not provide compensation to buyers for purchasing your products or provide claims codes to buyers for the purpose of inflating sales rank. Now, right, this is something hard to prove, but, they're going to tie in several pieces to this. One of the pieces are a claim code, then asking an email for a review, right? That's a clear indication that you're promoting and you're inflating, right? You're inflating you're trying to inflate your algorithm, the sales rank, and you're trying to use the title and the description of making those claims by regarding sales rank, like say number one on Amazon or something like that. You see a lot of people put number 1 on it. They'll tie in all those 3 pieces together, which is the discounted products. Then they'll probably look for, after that, any requests for reviews on those discounted products. Then they'll look for your title and they'll look for anything that highlights number 1 or anything like that. So this is how they're trying to tie in the pieces and really kick off the Amazon system, those that are abusing it. Now, this is why I recommended in my last episode. And in my last episode, I taught you guys a strategy on how to get real customers that will buy your products, and how to promote your products, how to promote your how to promote your either your other products that you sell, or even through the Amazon seller system, how to really get them to how to really generate a natural sale. And then as a result of that natural sale, you're gonna then promote another product and then get them to then buy that discounted product, and then get them to leave a review organically, right? I kind of went over the steps in the last episode on how to do that. If you listen to episode number 49, I cover that extensively on how I worked on a strategy to I bought a really good best-selling product in my category, and then I used that best-selling product and I included flyers in there that not only that walked step by step on how to that provided a flyer on step by step on how to really find my product organically on Amazon by entering the keyword in the title and then hitting search, on how a real search is performed on Amazon by a real buyer, right? And then I used that hot selling product on Amazon that I was selling at cost to include this flyer to promote my other product to then get them to hopefully purchase that product. So bottom line is, I have to either make a decision, right? Getting ranked on Amazon is more important than getting a review or asking for a review in a non-organic way. And I hope this makes sense for you guys. I'm going to repeat it. Getting ranked on Amazon is more important to me than asking for a review in a non-organic way. Now, what I mean by that is, when I send out the email sequences asking for a review, that's non-organic, right? I'm kind of forcing it through 3 or 4 emails. I'm kind of forcing a review. Not forcing, but asking, reminding them, right? Amazon sends a request for a feedback, and then I then send a request for feedback and a review. Now, I can't do both. I can't decide, according to this, I cannot decide to give out a ton of promotional codes and then also have an email sequence system that asks for reviews. I have to choose either one, because then I would be at risk of violating Amazon's terms of service. Okay? And I need to make sure that I go over my title. I never make any comments towards bestsellers on my title, but I need to make sure that that's not on there, because that Amazon's going to look for, I'm going to say those 3 things. One is they're going to look for an excessive amount of promotional codes, followed by a request for review or feedback, right? And then the third is, making fraudulent claims or making claims on your title or your description as to, the sales rank, where you rank on Amazon, right? Number 1 bestseller. You don't want to have any of that, guys. Okay. So this is how I'm going to pivot my business, and I'm going to make those changes. Also, creating super URLs, it's a thing of the past for me, right? It's a thing of the past for me, because creating super URLs is manipulating the sales rank, the algorithm. Okay. This is, if you're going to promote products and you're going to promote it via a discount code, via super URL, you're asking for hot water. You're asking for trouble, because I think that eventually that Amazon's going to view that as trying to artificially manipulate the sales rank of your product by trying to increase your sales rank for those keywords. Guys, stay away from that. We need to make changes as business owners to our business, and we need to pivot when we need to pivot. This is a time that we need to pivot. And you'll sense the urgency in my voice, because I don't want to see anybody lose their account. I don't want to lose my account. I don't want to see anybody lose their account for something that can be avoided. Okay, so how do you move forward? How do we grow our business now? Now, this is my approach. I'm no longer going to use any blasting services for my products. I am going to follow the steps I recommended in episode 49, which explains how I purchase a hot selling product, and then in that same packaging, I'll include a flyer in there that walks them through the steps. And I went over those detailed steps. I'm not going to go over them again, but what I include in that flyer, so that they can organically find my product on Amazon, not through a super URL. Now, I do send coupon codes through the Amazon emailing system to my customers, right? And in the past, I would use a super URL for that. I did it just once or twice. I mostly just sent my straight Amazon link to my page. So that is another option that you can do. but I totally recommend you going the non-conventional way to do things and taking a few more steps to really grow your business. Because at the end of the day, those that want to, reach $1 million, in 2 months are going to find themselves out of the Amazon, industry very fast, because Amazon's going to shut you down very quickly. And if you purchased, 1,000 units, 2,000 units, now you're sitting on those units. If you think you're going to try to fool the system and open an account and list it on another account, trust me, they're going to find it. They're going to find your product. They're going to ban you too. So let's play the right way, guys. Let's play the way that, Amazon wants us to play, so we have long-term longevity in our businesses, especially on Amazon. This is my interpretation. This is how I am going to pivot. If it takes me 4 months longer to hit, 40, 50, 60, $100,000, then so be it, right? I'm in this for the long term. I've been selling on Amazon for a very long time. I am in no hurry. Okay. I am in no hurry. So for me, it's, it's a no-brainer, but you have to constantly look at your review, look at the terms of service, learn what the changes are, learn what's going on. Don't just, follow everyone's footsteps. Call Amazon, do your research, do your due diligence, find out for yourself, protect yourself, because at the end of the day, no one's going to do that for you, and if you get caught, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, you're going to pay the price heavily. So bottom line is, for now, I'm closing down my Feedback Genius account. And I'm gonna not send any more emails requesting. Well, actually, let me reverse that. I'm not gonna close my Feedback Genius account. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop those emails from being sent out. I'm gonna disable those emails. The only email that's gonna go out is an email for an ebook that I give my customer. If that customer decides to leave me a review out of good nature, then so be it. Let the process, take place naturally. Okay, you'll get the reviews. I'd rather have an increase in sales rank and build my product through there, rather than be so focused on reviews. Yeah, reviews is social proof, and I get that, but you're gonna get that naturally. I got tons of reviews organically on my listing, and it wasn't through asking every customer for a review. I got a lot of them naturally because I started, that's the way I started doing my test. I'm testing my product. So it can be done, but I rather rank better for a product through doing promotional, boost through coupon codes than to, ask for a review for every order. And then I rather improve my customer service by when a customer orders, just thank them for the order and give them an ebook. In my case, I'm giving them an ebook. So I'd rather do that and just, run my business that way and not ask for any feedbacks or any reviews, because I don't want to be on that gray line. There's a thin line, guys, that Amazon is now, drawing in the sand. And if you're not paying attention, they're going to hit you hard, because they've built $1 billion business based on transparency, based on honesty, and it's being abused now in a major way. There's a lot of black hatters. There's a lot of, internet marketers that have found an easy way to make a lot of money on Amazon, and they've learned to abuse the algorithm. And trust me, Amazon has the best engineers in the world. They're going to figure this thing out, and they're putting in their terms of service, they're highlighting changes that that it's going to give them the leverage and the weight to then come back and say, here you go, we told you, and you didn't pay attention, you're done, suspended for life, you're gone. Okay, so make sure that you follow the rules. Stay away from super URLs. Stay away. Listen, this is what I'm doing. Again, a lot of great services out there, and I don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm staying away from blast services. I'm staying away from. I've never used a review group, but I'm staying away from. I'm staying away from that. That way to boost my product. I'm gonna use again my strategy that I share with you guys on episode 49, and it worked extremely well. And I had control of that, and it was an organic process, right? People search for my products organically, and there were real customers, right? Every time I use some blast services, I kept getting leechers, that are signed up to these review groups that would just then resell my product and get on my listing. And then, I can't get them off of there because it's actually my product that all they do is just go on these review groups, all these blast services and get free product or discounted product and then sell it for full price, on your listing. So, I'm not gonna use these blast services anymore. And, again, you're probably going to be fine if you use them, because you might be fine, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to take control of my business. I'm going to offer my product to real customers that buy a first product of mine, and then I give them a discount for my second product. That's all natural and organic. The customers are real, and I'm not going to ask for any feedback or reviews. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to build my business the other way. Most of you know that I test, and I test, okay? And this is my new test. My new test is, how can I continue building my brand, obviously within Amazon's terms of service, but taking more of those actions that help me rank my product faster, taking more control of it. And even if it's a little slower, it's going to provide longevity for my business. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This episode is extremely important for all Amazon sellers. And again, if you want to learn how to sell on Amazon and you haven't joined up for my free course, hop on over to the onlinesalesmentor.com website, click on the join free course tab, and you can, get all 53 videos. And soon, very soon, and I know I sound like a broken record here, but you're going to have, we're going to make available our free, our private labeling course. Now, I got some great stuff in the pipeline, and I'm not going to share that, and I know I shouldn't even be teasing you and even mentioning it, but I got some really good stuff I'm working on that I'm going to share with you guys. It's really going to blow you guys out of the water. So it's going to be something that everyone can use. So that's coming soon. Now, if you want to join my Facebook group, just hop on over to the onlinesalesmentor.com/FB and you can join my Facebook group. If you're already on iTunes, leave me a review. And you're on Stitcher, leave me a review. If you're new to this episode and you're listening to me for the very first time, I have a free online Amazon sellers training course. You can't be free, guys. There's tons of value. It's changing people's lives. People are really doing really well with it. I get the emails and the Facebook comments. I just get countless and countless of emails all the time on how it's changing people's lives, and they just can't believe that I'm providing high quality videos for free, guys. So hop on over to the onlinesalesmentor.com website and click on the join free course tab. All right, guys. As always, I love you guys. Thank you for being avid listeners to my show, and as always, I try to provide as much value and content as I possibly could. So I hope that you value what I'm sharing with you guys today and you put it into action. Love you guys. See you in the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Online Sales Mentor podcast at www.onlinesalesmentor.com, where we help you grow, build, and automate your Amazon business.